Confused about what career to choose? Not quite sure of the range of study and work options compatible with your personality, aptitude and interests? Welcome to Career Cafe for a ringside view of an exciting career each week. Together, we'll explore the pros and cons, the ins and outs, the programs and prospects, all the stuff you need to make an informed and successful career choice. Hi, I'm your host and career guide Parveen Malhotra. And on the menu today, we have careers in urban development and management. Urbanization is by no means a phenomenon new to India. However, in the last few years, it has assumed a particularly challenging character, fueled by an economically strong and proliferating urban population. But the fevered pace of urbanization brings with it a host of ills: erratic and haphazard growth, unchecked construction, proliferation of slums, pollution and environmental degradation, health hazards, growing incidence of crime, lack of accountability, governance issues, insecurity, and social isolation. The challenge facing today's urban planners is how to plan for and create an infrastructure that not only meets today's requirements, but one that's also capable of serving the demands of a burgeoning population for several years into the future, from housing and transportation to basic amenities, education, recreation, the works. And to manage these outcomes, we need an army of trained professionals with technical and managerial expertise who can question the status quo and work holistically on our urban challenges instead of operating in watertight silos. And to tell us all about this fascinating interdisciplinary field is Dr. Shaleen Singhal, Head, Department of Policy Studies at TERI University. An architect from Lucknow University and a gold medalist in environmental planning from CEPT, University Ahmedabad, Dr. Singhal did his PhD from the University of Ulster. He has over 18 years of academic research and consulting experience working on urban development issues in India and UK, and has served as core faculty on sustainability design at the School of Built Environment, University of Ulster, UK. His publications highlight significance of low-carbon urban development, infrastructure performance, ecology-based urban planning, and sustainable regeneration to make cities competitive. We'll be talking about that in the course of this program. His doctoral students are adopting a multidisciplinary approach to examine urbanization-related themes. Welcome to Career Cafe. Shaleen, absolute pleasure. So tell me something. You know, whenever I hear talk of urban development and planning, it says that radical changes are required in today's urban development practice. Why this radical change? What is different? What has changed, really?
Yeah, I think, first of all, thank you very much to be on this show. I think we have to acknowledge that there is change happening, and the cities are transforming rapidly. The change is happening on a positive note. This change is happening because of globalization pressures. This change is happening that there is a consensus now that cities are no more urban liabilities rather than engines of growth for the economies. A lot of transformation is happening at the cities level, and particularly so in this part of the world, in the mature emerging economies, as compared to most of the developed world. And so therefore, this change is actually stimulating a lot of differences that is happening on the ground.
But hasn't this change been a gradual change right through? I mean, what has disrupted the whole?
Yes, if you notice, the consumption patterns have changed. The lifestyle has changed in most of the urban centers. There is major transformation in the structure of the cities. We have, for example, a new layer of metros coming into the cities that is making major structural changes into the cities. We have new kind of consumption pattern from the lifestyle, which is changing the way our land use are being planned. We have new kind of consumer behavior that is changing the way things are being laid out in the cities. So there is certainly a lot of change that is there. But at the same time, what is a challenge is that while the cities are changing and transforming very rapidly, the institutions that are mandated to deliver are not changing or transforming in the same pace or in the same manner.
So when you talk of institutions, you're talking of municipalities and development boards, etc. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, the urban local bodies, the municipal corporations, the parastatals who support urban fabric, the research and consulting organizations as well. And because there is a gap between the pace of change and the institutions' capacities to deliver, we do have both an opportunity to create a cadre of professionals to respond to this change, while at the same time we have the challenges relating to environmental and social impact and economic impacts that the cities are faced with.
Absolutely. So if you have any queries please on development and management and careers in this field, please call us quickly on these toll-free numbers 011-230-35420 and 1800115314. Yeah, so Shaleen, continue. This is fascinating. So because of all these challenges, and these are very vast and varied challenges, so surely there can't be just one person who can handle all these. So when you do a course, for instance, in urban planning or development, after that also do you specialize? What happens? What are the kinds of specializations?
I think the premise here is that urban is a very complex phenomena, and therefore the solutions to address the challenges have to be multidisciplinary, and therefore the curriculum design has to be multidisciplinary. We do have traditionally institutions, premier institutions, which have been offering urban planning related programs.
Typically architecture colleges.
Architecture colleges, yes. The master's program, the graduate programs, as we say, these are more into urban planning. But what we need is the professionals who are actually responding to the industry needs. For example, the skills that they need to acquire relating to urban finance, how the finance can be managed by the cities. I mean, even if we have very good plans, if we have very good strategies in place, but our cities in India, municipal corporations in India are financially challenged.
Absolutely.
So how do you generate, how can you be innovative in your approaches that equip the cities to respond to these challenges is very important for the students to equip with.
I agree with you. And on that note, we have our first caller, Pandurang Patil from Maharashtra. Welcome to Career Cafe. Hello.
Good evening to both of you.
Good evening.
Ma'am, I want to ask you a question here that I am the student of Bachelor of Art with the Public Administration subject.
Okay.
And I would like to do master course in urban development. Is that possibility of the course? Is that availability of master course in urban development?
Certainly. There are. I mean, your university, TERI itself, takes in students from a variety of disciplines, does it not?
Yes. Since the discipline itself, as I mentioned, requires a multidisciplinary approach, the intake, there is a flexibility to take in students from various backgrounds. We do take in students from art and related disciplines
social
such as
studies, from various areas of social studies,
such as architecture, engineering,
geography,
social sciences,
sociology,
geography, etc. Yes. So there is, and this is not only in the program of urban development, but there are several related programs wherein the students from arts and social sciences can actually get into, such as focusing on public policy and sustainable development, which is a program that TERI offers. There is a program on sustainable development practice that you can get into and apply to this kind of program.
So yes, to answer your question briefly, you can. Maybe you can't do the MTech program, but the MSc programs are all open to you. And so too are programs in many of the other, where you do a master's in planning. Even those programs take in graduates from the social sciences. So why not?
Yes. I would also, as we were talking about the change that is happening, to mention that it is not only a localized phenomena that is happening, the change, the rapid transformation within India, but globally there is a lot of buzz on how cities can perform better, how cities can be more competitive, can be more sustainable. There's a lot at the UN level. There is a Habitat 3 being floated. There is UN is focusing more through the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly on cities and lifestyle. There's a focus on sustainable consumption patterns to be adopted at the local level. In the country itself, you know that the government of India has taken up this entire mission of smart cities, and focusing on other related issues through the mission of Amrit and the SLIP program that the government of India is taking up. So it is important that all of us, the higher education institutions, the consultants, do gear up to respond to this transformation and the new landscape that is emerging.
So briefly, before we go in for a break, just tell us, when you talk about, and because that was also the thesis of your PhD, making of competitive cities. Just explain to our viewers what this competitive city means.
Yeah. I think it's important that to acknowledge that every city is competing. I mean, some of our cities, like metro cities like Delhi, Mumbai, they do compete at the global level to either attract foreign direct investment, to get infrastructure. Some of our class 1 towns do compete to get the right kind of people, the social capital.
Right.
They do compete between each other to attract, let's say, the corporate sector to get focused onto. Every city does compete with its own past.
That's right. That's true.
So that is something which, but important is how do we facilitate cities to be more competitive as compared to others, is what the focus of this thesis has been.
So we'll take a short break here on that note, but when we return, we'll look at the outlook and prospects in this field and also continue taking your queries, so stay right there. Welcome back to Career Cafe. We're looking at careers in urban development and management, and with us is Dr. Shaleen Singhal, Head, Department of Policy Studies at TERI University. So Shaleen, tell me, where do all these people, specialists in development, technology and management work? Who employs them? Is it easy to find a job? Where would you begin?
I think the answer lies also on how the curriculum is structured, what are we equipping and building the capacity of the student through the curriculum. And therefore, the need of the industry, that is the cities, is that we equip the students beyond just focusing on planning domain. We equip them through the issues of urban finance. Governance is very important aspect. How do institutions work? It's also important that students do get equipped with development policies, focus on certain tools and techniques such as Geographic Information System, GIS, stochastic modeling. Then particularly the students have to be equipped wherein they have a choice to develop their career path into. For example, the students may get into the domain of waste management, a very, very important and emerging problem in the cities of India. They may get into urban transport, another major problem that cities do require some support from the new cadre of professionals. They may get into disaster management related tools and techniques, and each of this can be a career path in itself.
Wow.
So at TERI University, within the MTech program in urban development and management, we do have structured in a way that they do get their hands on through practice-oriented approach in terms of the pedagogy that we adopt, that the students do get equipped through these skills. The program is structured uniquely in terms of 1 full semester the students are mandated to spend in the municipal corporations.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. That's a fantastic experience.
So that's first time being experimented in India and elsewhere in the world, that they do get, it's a partnership between the municipal corporations and the university, wherein the students do work with the municipal corporations and parastatals such as Delhi Jal Board, DDA, etc. and do work with them on creating innovative solutions. And some of my students are working on GPS-enabled waste collection model, focusing on, another one is focusing on construction and demolition waste, another one on rainwater harvesting. They're also working on smart cities approaches, like so on and so forth.
So this is for a full semester?
This is for an entire semester that the students do have to work with the municipal corporations and parastatals.
So tell me, now how do you make yourself, we are talking of competitiveness of cities, but how does a student or a professional make himself competitive to be progressing in this field in his career?
I think the approach that the student has to adopt, besides the generic thematic or mantra of rigor, is to take a research-led approach within its post-graduation degree, and also get exposed to a lot of practice-based solutions. So therein, universities actually have to partner with the industry.
Yes.
To bring in the practice orientation to the classroom. The real world problems have to be brought in to the classroom.
Yes,
so
it's
that
not just theory.
Yes.
We have a caller waiting on the line, so we'll address her question first. Monica from Punjab, welcome to Career Cafe, Monica. Hello? Hello? I think the call's dropped, so before she comes back. So yes, please continue.
Yeah, so that is something which the students and the faculty members have to realize, that research plays a very important role in equipping the curriculum vitae, the CV of the student, and enhance its employability from thereafter graduation. And this can be actually enhanced by the major project. At TERI University, across the programs, we have adopted this, that one full semester the students do spend on research, working with the actual professionals outside the academic domain, and focus on creating innovative solutions for the cities.
But would this not happen with some of our other established programs, say at CEPT or etc.?
Yes, institutions such as CEPT, School of Planning and Architecture at New Delhi.
Right.
These are premier institutions at the country level. They do have emphasis on research as well. It's just that on various domains that you strike a balance between research and practice, theory, and the exposure within the classrooms. So again, I would say it's also a partnership that higher education institutions do have to adopt with the research professionals and the practitioners. And that is the model which is going to be the success formula for future.
But you know, traditionally we've seen essentially a lot of architecture students moving into planning at the master's level. Is that an advantage even today, having a background in architecture?
Yeah, I think I would not put that as an advantage, but definitely that's an interesting skill and a required skill that cities do require to shape up, to transform and to perform. I do sometimes mention this to my students who come from architecture background, that there is a strong potential for them to graduate from A to B and C, which relates to from the architectural design of buildings, moving on to the built environment improvement, and thereafter to the competitiveness of cities. So there is a lot of potential that the design related skills which architecture students bring in, and the power that they have from observing through the architectural discipline does contribute to making cities
because even for problem solving you require design skills.
Yes.
No, it's a different kind of design.
Absolutely.
Monica's back on the line, so let's before the call drops. Welcome, Monica.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I want to ask a question regarding the eligibility. Suppose somebody wants to take up a course in urban development.
Right.
So what is the eligibility criteria for the course?
It is so varied, that's what we were discussing, but briefly, Dr.
Yeah,
Singhal?
very quickly, since it is an MTech program, titled as an MTech.
No, yours is an MTech program.
Yeah.
So let's, so for your program, you require these, but let's talk about even the non-MTechs.
I think in general, the programs which are focusing on cities do require a lot of disciplines which varies from technology, management, and social sciences. So all these disciplines are geography, sociology, anthropology, technology, BTech, and social science and other sciences do actually.
And I was going through your syllabus, even those who have done, say, a BTech in any branch of engineering are eligible.
Yes.
Or those who have done an MSc in almost virtually any field of science are also.
Yes.
So in that sense, it is huge and wide, and I'm sure somewhere or the other you would fit in, regardless of what qualifications you had at the bachelor's level.
And we do structure the program in the sense so that all the students from different disciplines come at the same level of knowledge before embarking into second semester.
So that is done, that's done at the foundation stage.
Yes, at the foundation stage.
To bring them all at par.
Yes.
In a way. So, but tell me, do students with an engineering background have an advantage?
I would put that the skill that they acquire from engineering in terms of getting into the details and the detailing and understanding the technology, analyzing the technology, it's more of that skill. But important for urban development related programs is how do you apply that skill and capacity that you have acquired from BTech degree, because it's more of an application of that caters to urban development. So for example, if you are a civil engineer, you have been designing, you have been looking at designing the infrastructure, but when you look at cities and performance of cities, you will look at several aspects associated with that infrastructure. The finance, where the finance will come from, how the project management will be done for creating that infrastructure, what kind of impact it will create, whether social impact or economic impact on the local community, on the city as a whole. If you are from social science background, you may get into a community manager who helps communities, innovative communities, to get established too.
So, from what I gather, in a country that's quite obsessed with government jobs, there would be lots of government jobs as well, no?
Well, there is a lot of need for absorption in the government. There is a lot of gap that does exist for supporting these local institutions in the country, and therefore there is a lot of potential actually.
But in the private sector as well, large infrastructure developers, etc.
Yes, as I said, a lot is happening in the area of infrastructure, in the area of real estate, in the area of urban basic services, and a lot of consultants, the private sector, are getting into this. Particularly, there is a lot of buzz through the Smart Cities mission. There are so many consultants who are actually preparing and helping the cities to prepare for bidding for this Smart Cities challenge and get into that mode. So I would be very optimistic in terms of a lot of opportunities arising for our potential students to get into that.
So on that very, very happy and very optimistic note, we'll wrap up today's show here. Shaleen, thank you so much for coming to Career Cafe. Really, what a pleasure. I mean, these are new challenging issues, and I think if students can contribute towards these things, they make a lasting difference. So thank you so much for being here. Next week on Career Cafe, we'll look at yet another super career. But before that, let me leave you with one of my favorite quotes that holds true for urban development as well as personal development. Failing to plan is planning to fail. So plan your work, work your plan, and be your best.